Hey guys, welcome back. We're on day 23. I'm really happy and excited today because when I was recording the chapters for today earlier, I had a little bit of a breakthrough. I've been praying to God to help me um, get to know Him better, um, grow my faith in Him, eradicate that doubt that keeps popping up, help me find peace with not needing to know everything, not needing to ask all these questions that I don't need to know the answers to, and helping me come to peace with that. And especially helping me to get to know Him better, develop my faith with Him better, and connect more with Him. And He's really been like helping me a lot through various ways, videos on YouTube, a book that my best friend gave me over the weekend, through my husband sometimes, through, just when I pray, just various different ways he's coming through to help guide me and answer my prayers and just really help me get closer to Him and develop that sense of like inner peace and faith in Him. And I have to say, there's something so nice and just calming about just letting go and just having faith and trust in God, and that He knows what's best for me, and He's guiding me and taking care of me, and everything is happening in my life as it's supposed to. Don't get me wrong, I went through a lot of pain and trauma throughout my life so far, and I'm only 30. And I think that there's a lot of it that I needed to go through those things to get to where I am today, and for Him to prepare me for the purpose that I'm supposed to fulfill, which he's slowly like letting me in on what that purpose is. Um, and I know it has to do with helping others and inspiring others. So I'm definitely praying to Him to help me even more get closer to what is that purpose. And I feel like, though, along the way, throughout all the trauma in my childhood and everything I went through in my 20s, I feel like, yeah, there was things that God wanted me to go through. But then I think, Satan and his demons also took advantage along the way, in some areas. Um, so, it's hard. I'm not going to be able to like sit here and write it all down. Okay, this is what the demons took advantage of, and this is what God, intended for me to go through. I can't sit here and write all that out. I can't remember everything that's gone in my life so far, but I just really like have been praying and been doing a lot of self reflection and looking back in my life. And I definitely am realizing that there is a lot of things that I was meant to go through, but unfortunately, you know, um, the Satan and his demons wanted to take advantage along the way, with some things. And, my eyes weren't opened. And so I, kind of fell into their traps and their lies and their deceptions. And, you know, um, that's that. But, today my breakthrough, sorry, I digressed there. My breakthrough today, though, was I'm really starting to understand God a little bit more. Um, and I'm starting to also understand why God couldn't have been in my life. Well, He was in my life, but like I didn't let Him into my life. Like He was kind of there behind the scenes helping me all along the way. But like I've now actually finally been like, okay, I'm going to acknowledge you, bring you into my life, and talk to you and pray to you and read your word and develop a connection with you finally. And I feel like if this had happened before I became a parent and had my daughter, I don't think that I would have been able to understand Him like I am now. And I'm not saying this is the case for everyone. I'm talking about me specifically. Becoming a parent and then reading the Bible and trying to understand God. Today, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what clicked, but while I was reading the Bible about halfway through today's chapters, I started to think about God in like a parental way. Like, because people are always saying, okay, well, God, we're God's children. And so I was like, some of the things that I've been reading so far and this today makes sense when I think about him as a parent and we're his children. Because I'm a parent and I have my daughter. And, I'm behind the scenes trying to make sure and guide her and support her in the correct, you know, way. And, there might be something that she doesn't understand, but I understand the big picture. She doesn't, though, in the moment, like when you have a kid and you're, trying to protect them from something and they just think you're being a terrible parent and they hate you, but really you're trying to be there for them and protect them, but they just don't see it in the moment. Or like, you're trying to get your kid to eat healthy, but they don't want to eat healthy. But because they don't realize that it's good for them in the long term, and just being there for them, doing things that they don't even, notice that you're doing, like, if you're doing their laundry and they're young and they don't even realize, what goes into that. And they're just kind of like, oh, I have clean clothes, like, I feel like God is like doing those things. God's like, doing things behind the scenes that we don't even understand. And he knows what's best for us, even if in the moment we don't. And so I feel like seeing him and understanding more of him in a parental role, and we are God's children, is helping me understand him a little bit better and understanding better um, sometimes what's being said in the Bible when I think about him like that. And so I don't know, it helped a lot. It helped seeing him more as a um like a parent, and we're his children and he knows what's best for us, even if we don't see it right now or understand it or feel like it's not what's best for us. And even though sometimes, we're just going about our day, he's, protecting us, like growing up, there was a time when my mom, told us that we were young and they were really strapped for money, and my mom just did whatever she could to have food on the table and take care of us. I had no idea. She hid it really well. I had no clue until she told me as an adult. And I'm like, wow, like she was taking care of us and keeping us safe and taking that burden and not letting us know of it. And I feel like God does that sometimes when I look back on my life and I feel like there's so many things that has happened that I can't explain. And then I'm like, yeah, definitely someone was looking out for me, and taking care of me. And I didn't even realize it all the time. Because I've done some stupid things. And especially when I was like partying and abusing alcohol and marijuana and stuff. And um, yeah, he was definitely looking out for me and watching over me and protecting me while I needed to go through the journey I went through to get to now. And I feel like being a parent is helping me understand him better. And I'm not saying that's for everyone. I don't think that's the case for everyone. I think for me, particularly, because obviously, you know, God knows everyone and knows what's going on with you and knows, just like the demons and Satan knows what specific lies and temptations and deceptions you will believe. God also knows you as well intimately. He knows like what will help you and how to guide you and what to say and how to do it, and and he knows what will work and what won't. And so I think that God knew that I couldn't bring him into my life and understand him and have faith in him until I was a parent. Because as soon as I became a parent and had my daughter, literally, I was in the hospital for 3 days after she was born, came home, was home for 2 days, and then moved out of my house and into his parents' house. And then from there, it's just been sign after sign after sign of him. Like, I feel like he's been like maybe like, I want to say cornering me, possibly, kind of like pushing me towards putting my back against a wall to where I had no choice but to be like, okay, I need to acknowledge you and see you go down this path. But it's like those things didn't ramp up, and really I didn't start to recognize these signs and this cornering until after I had my daughter. So I definitely think that I wasn't meant to start opening my heart and mind and life to him until this year, until after I had my daughter. I think he planned it that way on purpose, because I've been reading the past couple of days about how he purposely has been hardening Pharaoh's heart. And I kept like reading that and listening to it. And I'm like, God, like, I feel like I wonder if he's done that with me. And then today, when I had my little bit of my breakthrough earlier, I was like, I feel like he's definitely done that to me. I feel like he purposely was like, okay, it's not, I'm going to be here for you and I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to be there behind the scenes, but it's not time yet for you to have me like actively in your life, for you to open your eyes to me and open your heart and mind to me. And so I definitely think that that's what he's been doing. And, you know, I've read and watched videos of other people being like, okay, yeah, God finally called upon me. And I feel like that's definitely what happened. You know, he set me up, set me down a path, you know, that I was supposed to go down. And then when it was time, he was like, okay, here we go. It's time for you to open your heart and mind and bring me into your life. It's time now. And that's what happened. That's what exactly what it felt like on the day. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that the day I decided to let God into my life was I had a huge fight with my husband. I was driving and I just felt like a zombie. I was just like, I don't know what to do. I just felt so like defeated in life and I just felt so lost. And something inside me was just like, it's time. It's time to let God in. And then I just started bawling. Like, it's making me emotional right now. Um, and that's exactly what happened. Was he was just like, okay, it's time. It's time. We're here. It's time now for you to bring me into your life. And here we are. So sorry, guys. I'm just when I pray every day, I also remember to make it a priority to thank him for coming into my life and the blessings that I do have, because I do get caught up sometimes in wanting certain things in my life and forgetting about the blessings that I do have right now. You know, I want my own home with my family and my husband and my daughter, because we live in my in-laws, my husband's parents' house right now. And sometimes I get a little caught up in wanting our own place so bad that I forget how blessed I am to have a roof over my head, to be able to financially stay home with my daughter and take care of her, to be able to afford clothes for her, you know, items for her, toys, um, you know, uh, food for us, and just whatever we need. And sometimes I feel like I get a little lost. And I feel like since I've been praying, God's really been helping me get perspective, being grateful for what I have. Um, and I've really been doing much better. I've been really stable. I've been making better choices with my food. I had trouble here recently for like about a week or so, but God's really been helping me get back on track. And it's like going through everything I went through, it's like I don't even care anymore. I'm just so grateful and happy to be here right now with bringing God into my life. It's like all the things I went through, it's just like I'm just like, okay, like I went through all that stuff. I'm here. We're all good now. It's like I'm not even mad. I'm not even upset. I don't even feel, I just feel like just so happy and blessed to be here right now going down this path, because I really feel like I'm making actual, real progress in my life. And that's by bringing God into my life, praying, having faith. And if you're struggling like I've been to have faith and get rid of that doubt, all you have to do is pray and ask God to help you get rid of the doubt and to help you grow your faith with Him and to help you get to know Him better and understand Him better and understand His Word, which is the Bible. It's as simple as that. All you have to do is pray and ask, and He will answer you. And that's that. It's that simple. So, I don't know, guys. I'm just feeling really good today, and I'm just feeling really like happy with this breakthrough, and I'm just feeling really like I just prayed before I started recording, so I'm just feeling like kind of like emotional because I'm just very happy to have God in my life, and it's a great feeling. And I really hope that whoever's watching this right now, I hope that if you're kind of on the fence or struggling, that you get to this place that I'm starting to get to. I hope that for you. I hope that you can find your way to God and ask Him for help, and He'll help you. I really believe that. So, guys, my goodness. All right, so we're going to start with today's chapters because I could just keep talking and talking and talking, but I can't because my daughter's napping and I need to get started before she wakes up. So, all right, guys, let's get started.
Moses' father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, heard about everything that God had done for Moses and for God's people Israel when the Lord brought Israel out of Egypt. Now Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, had taken in Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her back, along with her 2 sons, one of whom was named Gershom, because Moses had said, I have been a resident alien in a foreign land, and the other Eleazar, because he had said, the God of my father was my helper and rescued me from Pharaoh's sword. Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, along with Moses' wife and sons, came to him in the wilderness, where he was camped at the mountain of God. He sent word to Moses, I, your father-in-law Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and your 2 sons. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, bowed down, and then kissed him. They asked each other how they had been, and went into the tent. Moses recounted to his father-in-law all that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardships that confronted them on the way, and how the Lord rescued them. Jethro rejoiced over all the good things the Lord had done for Israel when he rescued them from the power of the Egyptians. Blessed be the Lord, Jethro exclaimed, who rescued you from the power of Egypt and from the power of Pharaoh. He has rescued the people from under the power of Egypt. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods, because he did wonders when the Egyptians acted arrogantly against Israel. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to God, and Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat a meal with Moses' father-in-law in God's presence. The next day, Moses sat down to judge the people, and they stood around Moses from morning until evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw everything he was doing for them, he asked, What is this you're doing for the people? Why are you alone sitting as judge, while all the people stand around you from morning until evening? Moses replied to his father-in-law, Because the people come to me to inquire of God. Whenever they have a dispute, it comes to me, and I make a decision between one man and another. I teach them God's statutes and laws. What you're doing is not good, Moses' father-in-law said to him. You will certainly wear out both yourself and these people who are with you, because the task is too heavy for you. You can't do it alone. Now listen to me. I will give you some advice, and God be with you. You be the one to represent the people before God and bring their cases to him. Instruct them about the statutes and laws, and teach them the way to live and what they must do. But you should select from all the people able men, God-fearing, trustworthy, and hating dishonest profit. Place them over the people as commanders of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. They should judge the people at all times. Then they can bring you every major case, but judge every minor case themselves. In this way, you will lighten your load, and they will bear it with you. If you do this, and God so directs you, you will be able to endure, and also all these people will be able to go home satisfied. Moses listened to his father-in-law and did everything he said. So Moses chose able men from all Israel and made them leaders over the people as commanders of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. They judged the people at all times. They would bring the hard cases to Moses, but they would judge every minor case themselves. Moses let his father-in-law go, and he journeyed to his own land. In the 3rd month from the very day the Israelites left the land of Egypt, they came to the Sinai wilderness. They traveled from Rephidim, came to the Sinai wilderness, and camped in the wilderness. Israel camped there in front of the mountain. Moses went up the mountain to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain. This is what you must say to the house of Jacob and explain to the Israelites. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, if you will carefully listen to me and keep my covenant, you will be my own possession out of all the peoples. Although the whole earth is mine, and you will be my kingdom of priests and my holy nation. These are the words that you are to say to the Israelites. After Moses came back, he summoned the elders of the people and set before them all these words that the Lord had commanded him. Then all the people responded together, "We will do all that the Lord has spoken." So Moses brought the people's words back to the Lord. The Lord said to Moses, "I am going to come to you in a dense cloud, so that the people will hear when I speak with you and will always believe you." Moses reported the people's words to the Lord, and the Lord told Moses, "Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow. They must wash their clothes and be prepared by the 3rd day, for on the 3rd day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. Put boundaries for the people all around the mountain and say, 'Be careful that you don't go up on the mountain or touch its base. Anyone who touches the mountain must be put to death. No hand may touch him. Instead, he will be stoned or shot with arrows and not live, whether animal or human. When the ram's horn sounds a long blast, they may go up the mountain.'" Then Moses came down from the mountain to the people and consecrated them, and they washed their clothes. He said to the people, "Be prepared by the 3rd day. Do not have sexual relations with women." On the 3rd day, when morning came, there was thunder and lightning, a thick cloud on the mountain, and a very loud blast from the ram's horn, so that all the people in the camp shuddered. Then Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was completely enveloped in smoke because the Lord came down on it in fire. Its smoke went up like the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain shook violently. As the sound of the ram's horn grew louder and louder, Moses spoke and God answered him in the thunder. The Lord came down on Mount Sinai at the top of the mountain. Then the Lord summoned Moses to the top of the mountain, and he went up. The Lord directed Moses, "Go down and warn the people not to break through to see the Lord. Otherwise, many of them will die. Even the priests who come near the Lord must consecrate themselves, or the Lord will break out in anger against them.
I forgot to look up that word consecrate. Um, I don't I don't know what that means. If anyone knows what that means, please let me know.
Moses responded to the Lord, "The people cannot come up Mount Sinai, since you warned us. Put a boundary around the mountain and consecrate it." And the Lord replied to him, "Go down and come back with Aaron. But the priest and the people must not break through to come up to the Lord, or he will break out in anger against them." So Moses went down to the people and told them. Then God spoke all these words: "I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the place of slavery. Do not have other gods besides me. Do not make an idol for yourself, whether in the shape of anything in the heavens above, or on the earth below, or in the waters under the earth. Do not bow and worship to them, and do not serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, bringing the consequences of the father's iniquity on the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing faithful love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commands. Do not."
This right here was where I had that breakthrough this morning, because I was like, oh my God, when I first met my husband and he told me about him being a Christian and God and everything, he would tell me, like, oh, God's a jealous God. But the way he was saying it was just like, I was like, ugh, like, why would you want to, like, follow a God who's jealous and, like, acts like that? And I never understood that until right now, today, when I was reading that earlier. And then I was like, oh my God, I understand. Because my daughter, if she was like out there idolizing someone else, or like praising someone else, when I'm doing all of the work and taking care of her and bringing her up and guiding her and supporting her, and I brought her into this world, I gave birth to her. I carried her for 9 months. I went through all the crap that I went through to bring her. I get up with her in the middle of the night. I take care of her. I guide her. I support her. I cradle her and make sure she doesn't fall when she's trying to walk. I feed her healthy food. Like, I do so much for her. So, like, right there, I was like, oh my God, I understand now why God feels that way. And it's like, I'm a jealous God. It's not because he's being like arrogant. It's because he's like, I created you guys. I created humans. I created you guys. I take care of you. I watch out for you. I protect you. And what I want in return is for you guys to love me and worship me and thank me for everything I've done for you. And I'm like, I feel the same way about my daughter, because I'm like, I don't want my daughter to like worship me, like, I don't want her to be like, oh, mommy, I worship you, like, but I want her to like appreciate what I do for her and thank me and love me and, be like, oh yeah, my mom is the one that, um, does all these things for me, and not like idolizing someone else. So I understand from a parent standpoint what he's saying here. I finally am like, oh my God, like, I get it. Like, I get some of his, tactics and feelings and why he does certain things. Like, I'm starting to kind of understand now. And some of it's a little like, whoa, he murders people and, kills them and does certain things and lets certain things happen, that I'm a little like, wow, that's kind of intense. But you have to think about it where I'm just me and I just have one daughter. He created an entire universe and earth and heavens and a human race and everything that goes along with it. Animals, livestock, oceans, land, food, human. I mean, he did so much more. So I feel like maybe for him, the stakes are way higher, than just little old me and my daughter. So for him, I think it's like understandable where his rules and, requests and things are a little more bigger and intense, because he is above all of our, you know, laws, of time and, nature and science and all that, because he created all that. So it's like he's above all that. He's above all of us, and he created all of us. So, um, and the laws and the commandments, I'm sure that we'll get to, at some point. Um, you know, I'm starting to sense that he created those things from a, he knows better than us standpoint, like parents do. Parents create rules and boundaries for children that because we know better than them, and we're their parents, and we're trying to help them and guide them and support them. And they, as children, might not understand it, in the moment, um, or ever. You never know. You may never know the full scope of why your parent did this or that. I don't know, but I feel like that's the thing with God, is like he knows best. And sometimes, we, I think, get a little lost, and we're like children, and we're like, no, I know best. I don't want to eat my vegetables. I don't want to go to bed. Like, I feel like sometimes, that happens, that kind of parent child relationship between us and God. And I don't know, guys, I feel like I'm starting to understand him a little bit better. Um, and it's just really helpful while reading, and listening to the chapters of the Bible each day, because I feel like the more I understand and the more I'm connecting, the more I'm growing my faith and the more I'm getting to know him, the more I'm truly like, oh, like seeing, and under my eyes are opening. I'm starting to actually understand what he's trying to say in the Bible and what his points are. So, um, it's just really great. And I'm just really like thankful and glad that he's been um, answering my prayers and helping me. Um, so, I don't know. Let's keep going.
Use the name of the Lord your God, because the Lord will not leave anyone unpunished who misuses his name. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. You are to labor 6 days and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. You must not do any work. You, your son or daughter, your male or female servant, your livestock, or the resident alien who is within your city gates. For the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and everything in them in 6 days. Then he rested on the seventh day. Therefore, the Lord blessed the seventh day and declared it holy. Honor your father and your mother, so that you may have a long life in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not give false testimony against your neighbor. Do not covet your neighbor's house. Do not covet your neighbor's wife, his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. All the people witnessed the thunder and lightning, the sound of the ram's horn, and the mountain surrounded by smoke. When the people saw it, they trembled and stood at a distance. You speak to us, and we will listen, they said to Moses. But don't let God speak to us, or we will die. Moses responded to the people, Don't be afraid, for God has come to test you, so that you will fear him and will not sin. And the people remained standing at a distance as Moses approached the total darkness where God was. Then the Lord told Moses, This is what you are to say to the Israelites. You have seen that I have spoken to you from heaven. Do not make gods of silver to rival me. Do not make gods of gold for yourselves. Make an earthen altar for me, and sacrifice on it your burnt offerings and fellowship offerings, your flocks and herds. I will come to you and bless you in every place where I cause my name to be remembered. If you make a stone altar for me, do not build it out of cut stones. If you use your chisel on it, you will defile it. Do not go up to my altar on steps, so that your nakedness is not exposed on it. These are the ordinances that you are to set before them. When you buy a Hebrew slave, he is to serve for 6 years. Then in the 7th, he is to leave as a free man, without paying anything. If he arrives alone, he is to leave alone. If he arrives with a wife, his wife is to leave with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children belong to her master, and the man must leave alone. But if the slave declares, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I do not want to leave as a free man, his master is to bring him to the judges, and then bring him to the door or doorpost. His master will pierce his ear with an awl, and he will serve his master for life. When a man sells his daughter as a concubine, she is not to leave as the male slaves do. If she is displeasing to her master, who chose her for himself, then he must let her be redeemed. He has no right to sell her to foreigners because he has acted treacherously toward her. Or, if he chooses her for his son, he must deal with her according to the customary treatment of daughters. If he takes an additional wife, he must not reduce the food, clothing, or marital rights of the first wife. And if he does not do these 3 things for her, she may leave free of charge, without any payment. Whoever strikes a person so that he dies must be put to death. But if he did not intend any harm, and yet God allowed it to happen, I will appoint a place for you where he may flee. If a person schemes and willfully acts against his neighbor to murder him, you must take him from my altar to be put to death. Whoever strikes his father or his mother must be put to death. Whoever kidnaps a person must be put to death, whether he sells him or the person is found in his possession. Whoever curses his father or his mother must be put to death. When men quarrel and one strikes the other with a stone or his fist, and the injured man does not die, but is confined to bed, if he can later get up and walk around outside leaning on his staff, then the one who struck him will be exempt from punishment. Nevertheless, he must pay for his lost work time and provide for his complete recovery. When a man strikes his male or female slave with a rod, and the slave dies under his abuse, the owner must be punished. However, if the slave can stand up after a day or 2, the owner should not be punished, because he is his owner's property.
Guys, I have to admit, those last couple of verses really got me. Like why is let's see here. Because I'm just going backwards here. Where is it? Isn't this what, let's see. I don't know, I can't find it. Those last couple of verses got me a little bit because I was just like some of it I'm like, why would God want, be okay with masters abusing their servants because they're their property, and why is it okay to sell your daughters and to buy and purchase servants, and if the master gives a man a wife and they have children, then the master gets to keep the wife and children, but the man has to leave. And how is do not commit adultery, but the exception is a man can have multiple wives. Like some of it, it's just I don't understand. In those last couple verses, when it was the rules or whatever, or going about the servants and all that, I just was a little tough to read. I don't know. I got to get some uh, clarification on those ones because those were a little rough. But I'm definitely just still trying to keep an open mind because I've been noticing that sometimes when I read the Bible and the chapters for the day, sometimes I don't fully comprehend what's trying to be said the first time. So, and this morning when I was recording, I wasn't really listening that well to the end. So I'm like, this is kind of the last couple verses is the first time I'm really actually listening today. So I think I'm gonna have to like go back and maybe reread them and then maybe like look to see um I don't know if there's any articles online or anything. Maybe that might help a little bit with those last couple verses because um, those I didn't really like them. But and then too, like I feel like a lot of the stuff that happens, like if someone gets kidnapped or stuff like that, or beats someone to death or whatever, those ones were where it was oh, those people should be punished and killed or whatever. Man, I feel like if those were the rules nowadays, a lot of people would be dying. So it's pretty wild. But all right, guys, we're done with today, and I'm gonna do a little, um, I think reading and research on those last couple um, verses here. Oh yeah, see here it said, "These are the ordinances that you are to set before them," because God said that, right? Yeah, the Lord told Moses. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna have to like reread those. It's like looks like it's from Exodus 21:1 and on. I'm gonna have to reread those again because I want to understand those a little bit more and get more clarification. So um yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining today, and I hope that if you found this video, that you want to join me in reading the Bible and working on our relationships with God and just trying to improve our lives. Everything's so like dark and heavy and crazy right now, and I went to the grocery store earlier and I left feeling so like anxious and stressed because I barely bought anything and I spent almost $75. And I was like, I was looking at my bags and I was like, on what? What in the world did I spend $75 on? And it's just, and then you get in your car and you realize you have to get gas soon. And then, bills. And it's just like, it's really stressful out there right now. And I definitely am just trying to find a way to live my life without being like stressed and overwhelmed and anxious every single day. And I feel like me developing a relationship with God and praying and reading His Word and kind of going down this path and bringing Him into my life fully every day is really, really helping that anxiety and stress and fear and all of that. So, you know, just join me. What do you got to lose, right? All right, guys. Love you all, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.